Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle and I'm the owner of Dan Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo Glitter. Today's tutorial features items from July's Flock Box. If you guys don't know what a Flock Box is, that is the Drunk Flamingo's mystery box that is released each month that includes 4 new glitters, 2 new pattern vinyls, and 1 to 2 white backed decals. After all boxes have been delivered, I released the tutorial so you guys can see how I created a cup using all of the items from the Flock Box. July's theme was Christmas in July. I love these little coconut snowmen pattern vinyl as well as the Santas and surfboard on the other pattern that was included in the box. And I also thought that this kind of wavy pattern with the glitter went with the beachy theme. Everything you see listed here will be covered in today's tutorial, but don't forget to check out the description where I list everything you need in order to create this tumbler, as well as discounts from my favorite suppliers. If you guys have questions, please feel free to ask in the comments, but for now, we're going to go ahead and get started on this tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, y'all, so here are the items we're going to be using today. We're going to be using the Coconut Snowman vinyl in all 4 colors. And this is the other pattern vinyl sheet that was included. These little Santas with their surfboards. So these are the colors. This is Minty Mistletoe. This green is Kris Kringletini. This purple is Turtle Doves. And the copper is Spicy Gingerbread. I thought all of these colors pulled from elements in the pattern vinyl, and I love how they look together. So we're going to start by trimming off all of the white because we don't want the white edges on our cup. And I just like to trim my edges with scissors. Sometimes my paper cutter doesn't work as well as I want it to, and I want to make sure that these edges are as straight as I can get them. And we're just going to start by vinyl wrapping our entire tumbler. So I'm going to get my Cami Page Boutique Cup Cradle. I use this in almost all of my tutorials. If you guys do not have them, we do have a discount code down below. I love Brooke and all of her tools. She is one of my good friends. And I'm going to get a marker, a Sharpie, anything you have, and we're going to use this cup cradle to draw a straight line down the cup. So we're using this cup cradle because it is a straight edge. And I'm just putting my marker right along that edge and drawing a straight line. And of course I got Sharpie all over my cup cradle, so I have to clean it off. And now I am just trimming about 2 inches off of this vinyl. Y'all know I like to save vinyl if I can. I use it for different things. So now that my vinyl is about the height that we need, I'm cutting off a little bit of the backing. We're going to apply this vinyl and use it as a hinge to wrap it around the cup, make sure everything is lined up straight. If you need to adjust your vinyl, you can adjust it at this point like I'm doing here, just to get a nice and straight vinyl. And once you have your vinyl on straight, we're just going to use our little vinyl squeegee, and we're going to smooth down the vinyl on the cup as we are removing the backing. And I do suggest going slow when you do this. I went a little bit too quick when I first put this down, and then I got a bubble under my vinyl, so I had to kind of remove it and resituate it. So I am just going slowly and smoothing out any bubbles or wrinkles that I see as I'm smoothing down this vinyl. Then when we get to the edge, I'm just going to cut off this excess and smooth that down. And then I'm just going around the cup and seeing if there are any bubbles or wrinkles that I need to smooth out. And next, I'm just going to take a piece of tape and put it right by that vinyl seam so that I can use it as a guide to cut off that excess vinyl. I didn't necessarily need to do this because it is going to be covered with glitter, but that's how I get my straight vinyl line. And this is another step that I don't necessarily need to do, but I like to show you guys how I hide the seam if I need to hide the seam. So I save the vinyl that I cut off like I did here, and then I take my scissors and cut out some of these images. So right now I'm just cutting out some of these flowers and the little snowmen, and I am just piecing them together so that we disguise that seam. Again, since I'm going to be putting glitter over the seam, I didn't necessarily need to do this. But again, I just like to show you guys my little tips and tricks. So now it just kind of looks like two snowmen are kind of standing next to each other instead of a snowman that's cut in half. And I'm doing the same thing with these little flowers. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. I'm basically just cutting out these little elements and piecing them together to disguise the seam. So I will let y'all watch how I do this just in super fast speed. But this is why I always save my vinyl instead of just immediately trashing it when I'm finished with it. So you guys can already see how that seam is really disguised. You can't tell that there's a seam. It just kind of looks like a double image, which in my opinion is better than having snowmen cut in half or coconut men cut in half. And once I am done applying these little elements, I'm just going to use my heat gun and I'm going to kind of heat up that vinyl just a little bit just to smooth everything down, make sure everything is attached well. This is also a good way to see if there are any bubbles under your vinyl, and you can easily go pop those little bubbles with a needle and squish out all the air. So I'm just doing the same thing on the top and the bottom. So now I'm just using my weeding pen and I'm popping any of the little bubbles that I see. All I do is just poke a little tiny hole and just squish that air out. And now I'm going to take my edging tool. This is also from Cami Page Boutique, and we're going to go around the bottom and the top. I like to use the half spacer for the top so that my rim is a little bit smaller. On the lowest setting, I think that the stainless rim is only about 2 millimeters. So it still gives you that exposed stainless rim to make sure that everything is sealed in after you epoxy. So I was originally going to apply the wave going around my tumbler, but after I started applying my striping tape that way, I didn't really like it. So instead I started to form a wave going up and down the cup. And I really just kind of used my striping tape to form a pattern until I liked the pattern that was created. I was trying to decide how many waves I wanted on my cup. So I settled with 3 little waves. And I will tell you guys now that I should have made my waves thicker instead of thinner. I did pretty thin waves just because I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out. So I decided just to make them kind of thin. But if I were doing this cup again, I would probably make them twice as thick so that the majority of the waves were kind of taking up half of the tumbler instead of about 1/4 of it. But it's all part of the creative process. That's what I'm always creating things and then recreating them and then changing something when I do it the next time. And they all turn out different. So right now I'm just applying several of these striping tape lines. And I like using striping tape. Brooke with Cami Page Boutique told me about striping tape, and it's a lot more flexible than painter's tape and even electrical tape. So you can get those good curves. And if you guys can hear that noise in the background, it's just some kids playing across the street. I'm not too sure what they're doing. But Birdie and Cash are definitely invested in whatever they're doing over there. So for the glitter lines that I'm applying now, I did 2 striping tape lines thick, I guess. And this is the thickest striping tape I have. It's probably about 6 millimeters. But like I said, if I was doing this again, I would at least double the size. So instead of 2 tape widths, I would probably do 4. So now that I have my striping tape on, I am going to start applying my glitter. So I am going to get out some ColorFix paints. I am going to base paint some of these stripes because some of the glitters are translucent, some of them are opaque. If your glitter is opaque, meaning you're not going to be able to see any of the base color through the glitter, then there really is no need to base coat. But if your glitter is translucent, then you will need to base coat or you will see the pattern vinyl underneath the glitter. So I'm just going in with this Minty color from Artistry. This is a ColorFix paint. Their ColorFix paints do have glitter glue built in, but I'm just using this to base paint. I'm just doing 1 layer and then I am drying it with my heat gun really quick. And then we're just going to go in with the second layer. And once I'm sure I have good coverage, I am going to sprinkle on my Minty glitter. And a tip for ColorFix paints, since it does have a glitter glue mixed in, if it sits for a little while, the glitter glue and the paint can separate a little bit. So I like to put something inside my bottles, whether it's a small rock that I have from my geode kits. It can be a BB, it can be a small marble, something that you can put in the bottle so that when you shake it up, it will help incorporate everything much quicker than if you were just shaking it and nothing was in there. So again, I am base painting this first. Then I'm going to apply my second coat, and then we're going to sprinkle on the glitter. And after I apply the glitter, I do pull the tape immediately because I don't want that ColorFix paint to dry with the tape still on, because then if you peel the tape up, it could pull up some of that glitter. So we want to peel it while it's still wet. So now we're going to go in with glitter glue. We are not going to base paint for these other two colors because these other two colors are opaque. So we're just going in right with the glitter glue. Glitter glue is clear, which is why you won't really be able to see where I'm painting this, but I'm just going right in between these two glitter waves that are on the tumbler. Glitter glue is pretty much how I apply all of my glitter. I used to use the spray method or epoxy for almost all of my glitter applications, but once I tried glitter glue, it was kind of a game changer for me. It's very similar to an epoxy application. The glitter glue kind of levels out, and you really only need one coat and you get great coverage. So I applied this chunky glitter. Now I am just scooting these chunky pieces kind of back into its wave, just so we don't have a whole lot of chunky pieces sticking out. And it will also make it easier to pinstripe. Now I did decide to base paint this purple because it was a little bit more translucent than I thought that it was. And if you guys ever wonder if your glitter is translucent or opaque, I would just suggest pouring a very small amount onto a pattern sheet of vinyl or a white piece of paper to see what the color looks like and to see if you can see colors underneath it. And there's our daily train, y'all. So once we have our second layer of purple paint on, we're going to sprinkle on that purple glitter. Then we're going to peel up that striping tape. And once this dries, I will spray seal it with Rust-Oleum 2 times. And then we're going to epoxy 2 times. I like to epoxy twice so that when we pinstripe, we have a nice smooth surface on our glitter. And we're not going to be battling with pieces of glitter that are poking up. So already I was loving how these colors were turning out. I thought they went perfect with the vinyl and could not wait to get it epoxied. So here's what our tumbler looks like after epoxy and after I sanded it really well. So we're going to start pinstriping. If you guys did not know, I do have a pinstriping file on thedrunkflamingo.com. It has my most popular sizes, which is 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. I like to print out full sheets at a time. That way I have lots of pinstripes to choose from. I can layer them if I want to. So when I was selecting pinstripes for this tumbler, I wanted to choose a vinyl that I knew was pretty flexible. Some of the vinyls, such as the metals or holographics, are more stiff. And if they are stiff, you're not going to be able to get a good curve in them without them bending or wrinkling. So I like to choose a vinyl that is kind of a softer feel, which was this glitter rosy gold. This is from my local vinyl supplier, which is Perfect Press HTV, which is formerly JSI Signs. They are in Norcross, Georgia. So if you guys are in the Metro Atlanta area, definitely check them out. They have great prices and a really good selection of adhesive vinyl. They have lots of these ultra glitter sheets, and I use those a lot. And I am basically just following the wave pattern that I already applied. And we're just slowly smoothing these down. And typically for pinstripes, I do use UV resin to seal the ends of the pinstripes, but I know that this vinyl does not have a tendency to lift. I typically only seal the metals or holographic. For some reason, those vinyls are the worst at lifting, but I know that this particular vinyl sticks really well, so there is no need to seal it. So I'm just going to trim off the edges with my blade. And then we're going to apply our decals. So I decided to add some pinstripes on the top and the bottom just to kind of finish the tumbler, and I thought this light teal or a dark mint really went with the vinyl. So I just wrapped this right along the top edge, and then I did the exact same thing to the bottom edge of the tumbler. This just kind of finished the cup. And I also think it helped to bring out some of that teal color. So I'm just wrapping that bottom edge. I'm just following the edge of the vinyl. But again, I did not seal this vinyl. Any vinyl that is just regular adhesive vinyl, I don't tend to seal. It's only the metals or holographics. So now we're going to apply our decal. If you purchased a flock box, you got one of my bleach spots, and then you got the little coconut snowman. And I use the bleach spot just so it kind of helps the little decal stand out a little bit more. And when applying these, I like to apply the middle and then smooth down each side slowly just to help avoid air bubbles or wrinkles. And I did have like a little tiny little piece of vinyl that was stuck to it. So now I'm going to get my transfer tape and just pick up my little coconut man. And I'm just going to center him on the decal. And kind of press him down the same way. We're going to smooth down the middle and then each side again, just to help eliminate air bubbles or wrinkles. And after we have our vinyl and decal on, we're going to apply 2 more coats of epoxy just to make sure everything is nice and sealed in. And then your tumbler will be complete. So here are some finished pictures of our cup. I know this cup was kind of simple, but sometimes I do things that are a little bit more advanced, so I like to throw simple ones in there every once in a while. For those of you that may be just starting out with tumblers, this is something y'all can definitely achieve. I think it turned out really cute. I love all of the colors together. And these little coconut snowmen, I am just obsessed with. I think they're so cute. If you guys created tumblers using July's flock box, please post in the Drunk Flamingo because I love to see what you guys come up with our boxes. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my Damn Fancy tutorial group, my Damn Fancy tribe, or the Drunk Flamingo glitter group. All are linked in the description. Thanks for watching!